I had spent years building a future with Khloe, my wife, now a billionaire. And as her company went public and her net worth shot through the roof, all I could do was sit back and wonder what was left for me in the life I helped her build. I'd always been a 9 to 5 guy. She was the one climbing the ladder, fighting to stay afloat, pushing herself farther than I thought humanly possible. But now, seeing her become the most powerful CEO in the city, it made me feel like nothing but a wage slave standing beside a giant. And honestly, I didn't know what else to do except divorce her. I'd been with Khloe through everything. Even when she was scraping the bottom, even when her company was one bad week away from bankruptcy. I was the one who helped her back onto her feet, borrowing money from everyone I knew, draining our wedding savings, risking every bit of stability we had for her dream. I believed in her when no one else had the stomach to. But now, standing here, watching her wealth explode into something I never even imagined, it felt like I had become nothing more than a footnote in her success story. The guy who helped her climb the mountain, only to be forgotten once she reached the top. The more I thought about it, the more divorce seemed like the only path left. The breakup fees alone, tens of millions, would set me for life. Anyone else in my position wouldn't even hesitate. But everything changed the day I overheard something I wasn't meant to hear. I was walking by the restroom when I heard Khloe talking to her best friend, Lily. Her voice was light, almost flirtatious, as she mentioned a guy named Jack. Handsome, successful, too familiar of a name from her past. He's not just any friend, Khloe, Lily teased. He's your alumni, right? Don't tell me you don't have any feelings for him. I froze. My heart sank. Khloe replied quickly, he's just a friend, nothing more. But it wasn't the words. It was the way she said them, casual, distant, removed from us. She had been drifting away for months. Now, I finally understood why. She wasn't just successful. She was changing. And I could feel myself slipping out of her world, piece by piece. I thought about our wedding, the way we barely scraped by, the borrowed money, how we couldn't even afford a proper banquet. Now she tossed around Mercedes cars and designer clothes like leftovers, and somehow the brutal truth was clear. She wasn't buying those things for me. She was buying them for someone else, someone she cared about more. Then came the punch that truly broke me, seeing her on TV. Her company had just gone public, and the interviewer was Jack. The Jack. Watching him, confident, handsome, charismatic, I realized he was everything I wasn't. Everything I could never be. And the way Khloe looked at him on the screen, it was a knife straight to the chest. A few days later, I sat in a tea house with David, my lawyer and friend from college. He noticed my expression immediately. What's going on, Ethan? You look like you've seen a ghost. I let out a bitter laugh. I want a divorce, David. He nearly choked on his tea. What? Divorce? Ethan, after everything she's been through? You helped her build this. And now you want to walk away. But deep inside, I knew this wasn't just about money or success. It was the fear of losing her completely, of watching her drift towards someone else while I stayed trapped in the backstory of her life. I remembered the woman I fell in love with, the fire in her, the ambition, the hunger. But now, she burned brighter than ever, and I was nothing but a shadow trailing behind her. You don't get it, David, I said quietly. Back then, she needed me. I could hold on to her. Now she's someone who doesn't need me at all. David tried to reason with me, but even he saw the shift in her. Khloe wasn't the same woman I married. And the moment I saw her laughing with Jack on TV again, I knew. She wasn't coming back to the version of us I missed. And I wasn't going to keep pretending. Later that evening, Khloe came home acting like nothing had changed. She even joked about how handsome Jack was and laughed at the men calling her wife online. The casual disrespect felt like a slap. Let's go buy a car, she said. Anything you want. Her tone was so dismissive, so detached, it was clear she had no idea what she was doing to me. That was the moment I realized nothing was going to fix us. No more waiting. No more hoping. No more clinging. Khloe had gotten everything she ever wanted. In the process, she had forgotten the person who helped her get there. So I stood up and made my choice. I would take what was rightfully mine and walk away. I deserved that much. I bought the top-of-the-line model, the one better than Jack's AMG GT 63. But the very next day, I got into my first accident. A head-on collision with Jack. He stood on the curb, furious, staring at the wreckage of his precious AMG as the crowd gathered and the police arrived. "Mr. Jack," an officer said after reviewing the dashcam footage, "you are at fault for crossing the solid line." But Jack didn't care. He barely heard him. He was too busy screaming. Which idiot was driving? Couldn't you have yielded? Now both cars need repairs. The officers were stunned by his arrogance. A passerby shouted back at him, "Are you serious? You're driving an AMG GT and you're yelling at a Panamera? What do you expect?" I stayed calm. No point lowering myself to his level. When I stepped out, Jack immediately pointed at me. "Couldn't you have yielded?" "I'm in a hurry." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, so being rich means you can cut people off? That AMG GT 63 didn't change your fate at all." Jack froze. His expression shifted. Something clicked. He suddenly backed off, muttering to the officers, "Handle it however you want. My insurance will talk to him." Then he left, fast. Too fast. Almost like he was running. The crash didn't feel like an accident. So I called David. "Have you finalized the divorce agreement yet?" He hesitated. "Seriously? I thought you might work it out." "No. I'm done. Send the papers tomorrow." David did. Everything was as expected, well organized, nothing surprising. I wasn't losing much. But betrayal? I wasn't forgiving that. Later, I went to Khloe's office. She looked at me, clearly sensing something was wrong. "What do you need?" she asked. "I need a favor," I said, leaning forward. "I want the keys to the AMG GT 63. Her expression faltered. "Are you joking?" I didn't smile. "Can you give them to me?" She studied me for a long moment. Then, quietly, "Fine. I'll bring them tomorrow." When I turned to leave, she called after me. "Are you jealous?" I didn't even look back. "Say whatever you want." Just before the door shut, I heard glass shatter inside her office. The next day, I met Jack at a cafe. He looked worse than he had at the accident, pale, tense. His eyes widened when he saw the AMG keys on the table. "Mr. Ethan, are you here to rub this in?" I shook my head. "It's just a car." I slid the keys toward him. "Take it. But don't snatch it. Understand?" He went pale. "What do you mean by this?" I let him sit with the silence before speaking. "You don't know who I am, do you? We're family, Jack. Your mother is my stepmother. Your real name is Ethan, and I'm your half-brother." Jack's jaw dropped. Color drained from his face. "No, you probably figured it out after the crash," I said. "You must have looked me up. I know what you're trying to do. Go after Khloe. But she's my wife, not yours." Jack tried to protest, but I cut him off. "I'm done with Khloe. But I won't let you benefit from her misfortune. You and your mother already did enough damage to my family. Now it's my turn." I stood up to leave. Behind me, he whispered, almost broken, "Please, Ethan. I didn't know. I didn't understand back then." I didn't slow down. I was done with his excuses. When I got home, I started picking at Khloe. Every little thing, every small argument. Anything that created distance. We were getting divorced, and I wasn't going to make it easy for her. When the wedding company called to confirm the venue, I told them to cancel everything. I didn't think twice. I just said the words and hung up. Khloe was furious when she found out. She slammed the door when she got home, walked straight into the living room, sat on the couch, and stared at me like she couldn't recognize who I was anymore. "Ethan, have you lost your mind?" she demanded, her voice sharp. "Is this about Jack? You knew he's my half-brother, right? You knew we were close." I didn't argue. I didn't even sigh. Instead, I picked up the divorce agreement from the table and tossed it into her lap. "Look at this," I said quietly. "If you have no objections, sign it. We're done." She froze. Her eyes jumped between the papers and my face, like she was trying to figure out whether I was bluffing. "You're really doing this?" I folded my arms across my chest, keeping my face cold, empty, unreadable. "We've been living on the edge of a divorce for years," I said. You know it. I know it. It's over. Her face drained of color as the reality sank in. I didn't wait for her to argue or cry or explain. Sign it if you want to get it over with, I said. But I'm done. Then something inside me snapped, and my voice shook with anger I'd been swallowing for years. Having a little money makes you feel important, doesn't it? I pointed at her with a shaking hand. Makes you think you can look down on everyone else, doesn't it? She stared at me, stunned. In all the years we'd been together, she'd never seen me like that. After a long, tense silence, Khloe reached forward and wrapped her arms around me. I just wanted you to reconcile with your father, she whispered, voice trembling. I've been hesitant about this for a while, but I didn't expect you to find out. Maybe I misunderstood, she said softly. Her words hit something deep. My anger twisted into something heavier. Sadness. My chest tightened, and before I could stop it, tears slid down my face. Khloe, you don't understand anything, I said, my voice cracking. She shook her head, confused and hurt. No, that's not true, she insisted. I know. I know about you seeing a psychologist 5 years ago. I know everything. I pushed her away. All the weight of the past crashed over me. Don't preach kindness when you've never felt true suffering, I snapped. You don't know how my family fell apart. My father's millions went to my mother, then left her with nothing. She lost custody of me. She fell into depression, and I watched her waste away. Khloe stared at me, disbelief in her eyes. Maybe you misunderstood, she whispered again, her voice small. Just like you misunderstood my relationship with Jack. She looked like she was breaking. I gave him the car because Lily liked him, she said. I just wanted him to notice her. He's still your brother, Ethan. You don't understand. But she was wrong. She took Jack away from me, I said bitterly. Stole everything. Our home, the business, and tried to push my mother out. If I hadn't left early, you wouldn't even know me. Now Jack is just like her. He's trying to take everything that's mine. I bent down, picked the divorce papers off the floor, handed them back to her. Remember what we agreed when we got married, I told her. If either of us ever wanted a divorce, the other wouldn't stop it. You can have the property, but I won't tolerate Jack being part of your life. She didn't take the papers. She just stared at me with red, swollen eyes. Ethan, how can you do this to me? She cried. She grabbed my shoulders and shoved me back against the wall. Why? What did I do to make you so cruel to me? I pushed her hands away, gently. Looking out the window, I said, almost whispering, Khloe, one day you'll thank me for this. You can't test human nature like this. She hugged me then, tight, burying her face in my chest. Husband, do we really have to come to this? Don't do this, please. I said nothing. She lifted her face, tears running down her cheeks. Even if I haven't been perfect, I've tried, she cried. We've been through so much together. Her words hurt. They cut deep. But I stayed calm. No, Khloe, I said quietly. I've been through enough. We both have. But I can't live with this anymore. Her sadness hardened into something else. Anger. She grabbed the pen from a table, scribbled her name across the divorce papers, shoved them into my hands, then turned and stormed out without looking back. The days after the divorce blurred together. I went to my mom's apartment, bought groceries, cooked dinner. Even though I'd left my marriage with nothing, my mom had slowly rebuilt her life. When she could finally afford her own place, she insisted I move back in. I did for a while. But after I married Khloe, things changed. Khloe didn't want to live with her mother-in-law, so I moved out. When my mom opened the door, she smiled warmly, then looked behind me. Why didn't you bring Khloe? She asked gently. I hesitated. If I told her the truth, she would explode. She's got a meeting, I lied. Oh, I see, Mom said softly. But I could tell she didn't believe me. Khloe's doing so well now, she added. Isn't it time to think about having a baby? I sighed. That question made something in my chest twist painfully. Let's take it slow, Mom, I said. Let things happen naturally. Back when Khloe and I were living in that cramped basement apartment, she talked about having kids. But we both knew we weren't ready, not financially, not emotionally. She once promised me that if things ever got too hard, she'd let me go. Back then, I believed her. Now, I didn't know anymore. At dinner, my mom kept glancing at me, worry growing on her face. She wanted me to have stability, a family, things she'd never really had. Mom, I said softly, Khloe and it just wasn't meant to be. I don't want to end up like you, constantly worrying, always unsure. She shook her head, hurt. You don't mean that, she whispered. Marriage is hard. Yes, but it's worth fighting for. I took a sip of wine, trying to calm the storm inside me. No, Mom, I said quietly. You don't understand. Khloe's already at the top. And I'm just here, watching her from the bottom. Everyone knows her name, but no one remembers mine. I've been living in her shadow for too long. Mom's eyes filled with tears. She squeezed my hand. You'll find someone who sees you, she said. Someone who loves you for who you are. I smiled weakly. I hope so, Mom. After dinner, I pulled the divorce papers from my pocket and handed them to her. She stared at them, shocked, then slapped my arm. Are you trying to kill me, Ethan? Khloe was so good to you. And now you're throwing it all away. I grabbed the wine bottle and took a long drink. Don't worry, Mom. The divorce settlement left me with plenty. We'll be fine. But what about Khloe? She asked. Is there really no chance? I shook my head. It's over. She'll be fine. She's going to be bigger than she's ever been. Maybe global one day. But me? I'm just a footnote in her story. Mom wiped her tears. You're still my son, she whispered. I'll always want the best for you. I kissed her forehead. I know, Mom. I just need to find my own way. So I left, packed my bags, started traveling the world, from South America to Antarctica, trying to outrun the life I'd built and the life that had crumbled. Weeks later, sitting on a beach, my phone rang. It was my father, the man who only called every few years. Ethan, he said in his deep, raspy voice, I heard you divorced Khloe. Why don't you come work at the company? It will be passed down to you boys anyway. I laughed. Jack's father, you're getting senile. Your company is already on its last legs. Why else would you be so excited about getting an AMG? He started coughing violently. Then a woman grabbed the phone. Ethan, she snapped. Don't be smug. After my son wins Khloe back, we'll invite you to their wedding. You must come. I snorted. Old woman, you're as shameless as ever. My father scolded her in the background. Same old drama. Two brothers fighting over one woman. Pathetic. Don't you have any shame? I muttered. Jack can marry anyone, but not Khloe. Never. I sighed. Old man, are you senile? Don't you see what Khloe is now? If it weren't for her, your company would have died years ago. Silence. Then more shouting. I didn't care. I hung up. Let them drown in their own mess. Then my mom called. Son, she said, that man from the He family sent documents. He wants to transfer part of his assets to you. I frowned. Is the old man dying? Probably not, she said. Maybe guilt is eating him. Tell him my divorce settlement is worth 100 times his fortune, I said. I don't need his pity money. That's true, Mom agreed. He can't compare to Khloe. I nodded. Then she dropped something unexpected. Oh, by the way, Khloe has been coming over for dinner almost every day. She apologizes if she can't make it. A strange, sharp annoyance hit me. Mom, I groaned. Stop entertaining her. If she shows up again, send her away. 2 months later, I returned home. I felt out of place, like I didn't belong there anymore. Just 2 days later, David called. High school reunion, he said. You're coming whether you like it or not. I hated reunions. They were always the same: food, drinks, gossip, showing off. But I had no job, no excuse, so I went. When we arrived, the room was buzzing. The moment we walked in, I heard someone whisper, I told you Ethan and Khloe would divorce eventually. Who wouldn't want to have fun with money? Another voice added, Ethan might be struggling now, but his divorce settlement still makes him richer than all of us. A third person chimed in. Yeah, but Khloe must have done something terrible for him to leave. A nice guy like him wouldn't give up unless it was serious. I just smiled and glanced at David. This reunion is full of surprises, I said. David, being David, quickly shifted the conversation. All right, enough about Ethan, he said. Let's talk about everyone else. It's been years since we last saw each other. Let's just enjoy tonight. Soon after, Khloe walked in. As usual, she had everyone's attention. Her beauty was undeniable, and her outfit made it clear she was still the same confident woman. But her voice, that playful tone, instantly grabbed the room's attention. David, you're going too far, she said. How could you not invite me to this reunion? You should at least let me treat everyone to a meal. The class immediately stood to greet Khloe. She smiled, sat down, and made a show of how busy she was. I have to come, or my husband might really divorce me, Khloe said with a teasing smile, casting a glance in my direction. I froze, my stomach twisting. Why was she still putting on this act? We were divorced, living separately, and I had no interest in her anymore. David, trying to ease the tension, jumped in with a joke. Ethan, you're a golden bachelor now. What are you looking for in a partner? If you're having trouble, I can send you to Thailand for a makeover. I leaned back in my chair, resting my chin on my hand. Seriously? Someone a bit more mature, an older sister type, who knows how to take care of people. Khloe's face darkened at that. Before I could say anything else, Anna, my old classmate, spoke up, remembering something from earlier that day. What type of woman are you looking for now, Ethan? Now that you are divorced? I sighed. The same as before. Someone like Khloe. Anna chuckled softly, her smile warm and genuine. You know, you could have said something like, someone like you. I gave her an apologetic smile. Sorry, Anna. You know me. I'll only ever love one person, even if we're apart. The reunion was wrapping up, and I decided to leave early. But on my way out, I ran into Anna, who was waiting for me. Did you drink? Let me drive you home, she offered. I slid into the passenger seat of her car, glancing at her as she drove. She looked stunning as always, her makeup flawless. Trying to lighten the mood, I joked, you know, if I snap my fingers, you'll forget you ate dinner tonight. She looked confused, then laughed. Wait, I didn't eat any dinner though. I nodded, still playing along. Of course you didn't. She raised her little fist and playfully hit me. No, really. I didn't eat anything. Before I could respond, a sharp knock at the car window. Khloe. She was glaring at us from outside. I sighed and opened the door, bracing myself. You move fast, don't you? Khloe snapped before yanking me behind her, and without warning, she slapped Anna across the face. Anna staggered, almost falling, but I quickly grabbed Khloe's arm. What the hell are you doing? Khloe's chest heaved as she pointed at Anna. She schemed against me, didn't she? Anna, recovering, met Khloe's gaze straight on. Maybe I had plans, but you're not the only one who can make a move. The air tightened. It was painfully clear. Khloe still wasn't over our divorce. No matter how much I tried to move on, she couldn't let go. I looked at Khloe, trying to process everything, but a familiar feeling stirred inside me. The evening breeze carried the faint fragrance of her hair. I felt the weight of her words before they even came. She started speaking softly, opening up in a way I hadn't expected. A few months ago, Anna said you had serious psychological issues, feeling insecure about your family and your marriage. She suggested you reconcile with your original family to resolve your inner demons. I frowned, not sure where this was going, waiting for her to continue. Khloe looked away, her eyes fixed on the pond in front of us. At that time, the company was about to go public, and the City Evening News was planning an interview. I knew that your half-brother was involved, so I thought reaching out to him would help, but I was also worried about Lily, my best friend. She was pursuing Jack, and I didn't want her to hurt him, so I pretended to be ambiguous with him, thinking it would keep her from playing with his feelings. Her words hung in the air. A knot formed in my stomach. I hadn't understood any of this back then. I didn't know she'd been trying to protect me, even if her methods were messy. She clenched her fist, frustration flashing in her eyes. That woman, Anna, schemed against me, Khloe muttered. There's no way you and Jack can ever reconcile. This whole situation, it made you more insecure, and now you're distancing yourself from me. There was pain in her eyes. Real pain. The truth was out, and neither of us could hide from it anymore. We both had demons, and no matter how hard we tried, we couldn't outrun them. I took a deep breath. Let's remarry, prepare for pregnancy, and then I'll give you a family. It wasn't the future I had pictured, but it was one I could see with Khloe, simple, grounded. But as the words left my mouth, I knew it wasn't enough. I looked at her, everything suddenly clear. Thank you for helping me face some of my inner demons, but the divorce is still valid. You and I, we're on different paths. You want a career, greatness. I want a simple life, wife, kids, a warm bed. We can't keep going down the same road. Khloe's face fell, disappointment flickering across her features. Then, almost resigned, she whispered, "Then come home with me. Have a drink with me." I knew she wasn't asking for just a drink. She was asking for closure. And the next thing I knew, sunlight was cutting across the room. Clothes were scattered on the floor. I stared at them, trying to piece everything together. A month passed, and life settled. Khloe stopped chasing my attention and focused more on my mom. One evening at dinner, she pulled out a pregnancy test. At first, I didn't understand, until I saw my mom's reaction. She was thrilled, rushing to make soup for Khloe, full of hope. Later, I took Khloe to her prenatal checkup. As we sat in the waiting area, a guy walked by wearing sunglasses, looking cool, and driving a Ferrari. I couldn't help admiring the car. Khloe noticed and teased, "What's wrong, husband? Do you want it?" I smiled, nodding. "Yeah, I want it. If you like it, I'll buy it for you," Khloe said with complete confidence. I looked at her, surprised. "Really? That's got to be expensive." She smiled and shrugged. "Of course. Isn't that what we make money for? To improve our quality of life. And who else would I spend it on if not my husband?" A warmth spread through my chest. I leaned in and kissed her cheek. "Then when are we going to the auto show?" Khloe blinked, confused. "The auto show? Why, to buy sunglasses." I grinned. And for a moment, everything felt right again.